do something a little different tonight. But in this video, I wanted to speak about another required quality for the truly feminine woman. And that principle or that quality is going to be accountable, being accountable. And if you can develop accountability, that is you will bring a lot of peace to your union. Okay, so accountable is to account for what you did and give a satisfactory answer for why you did what you did. So as a woman, it's important to be able to take accountability for what you do, because you're that man's helpmeet, so you're helping. So if anything go wrong that you're accountable for, you have to be able to state like, okay, this is what I did, this is what happened, this is what went wrong. And it's very important for you to do that, because it's definitely connected to the responsibility of your role as a woman. So I wanted to kind of just share like some ways that we don't take accountability, and then list some solutions that have been helpful for me. So alright, so I have a long list. I could have just kept on going, but I was like, let me stop here. There's so much with this topic. But the first aspect I wanted to point out or share was that sometimes it can be hard for us to take accountability because we detach ourselves from our mess. And we do that by deluding ourselves or lying to ourselves about what that problem may be, the truth of that problem. And sometimes we just don't sit with ourselves long enough to really examine and to judge like what it is that we're doing. And so we avoid those things for whatever reason. And so it can be difficult for us to take accountability. And I think also like just being uncomfortable with your deflects or the character flaws that one has can make it difficult for them to take accountability, because that ego, man, that ego is nothing to play with if it's really, really huge. So a lot of times it's hard for us to take accountability for the problems we create in our lives. I've seen instances where people just want you to validate what they already feel or see. And a lot of times we do that, especially when you're interacting with your mate. If your mate is patient with you and willing to listen to that, listen to you validate what you saw or what you think the situation may be, even though he's like, I already can see that, like you don't have to explain that. So that's also another sign of just having a hard time taking accountability and trying to explain the situation away because you don't think that man understands what it is that is going on or what's happening or what the situation was, which is really disrespectful, because it kind of shows that you don't respect that man already knows, can already see what the issue is, see what the problem is, and don't need you to explain it. And if he's pointing something out, it's because that's what it is. It's not because he's confused or anything, or he's sharing something with you that he hasn't thoroughly thought about, or he's just a master in. I think sometimes females don't understand that when they try to explain things, like you don't need to do that. But I think it goes back to that ego and just not wanting to let that ego die. Sometimes people feel like they're gonna die in those moments. It's too much. It's like the anxiety's like, you can see it sometimes. You can see it in their breath. You can see it in their eyes. Like, yeah, the person's scared. They scared. They just gotta let it go. But we'll get to the solutions. A lesson that I learned not too long ago from my master within our house. There are many lessons that we learn within the house, but he said something that was very deep. He said a lot of times females, they submit to the God that they created, so they don't want to submit to that man's word. So he could be telling you something, and instead of submitting to that word, we'll restate it in our own terms. So, and I'll give some examples. So like, these are some things that you probably said, and I've said in the past. So peace is up to Yafe. So she'll say things like, I was thinking, or no, I was saying, or well, I was just saying this, or So those are all ways that she's trying to restate those terms, or put what he said into her own words, because she's saying I think. So it's like, okay, but what about what was just said to you? Also, for example, he could be saying, I'm not really good at examples, but just a wild example, he could be saying, raising your tone is disrespectful and rude, and she'll say, yes, yelling at someone is disrespectful and rude because, so she restate what he just said, but she had to say it, and now she's teaching him. So that's also a way of not taking accountability in the moment as well. Okay, so all right, so another aspect here when it comes to accountability. Okay, so sometimes you do need to take accountability in a moment and say, okay, I own that, I take responsibility for that, here's what I'm going to do different in the future. But sometimes if you've done something over and over and over, sometimes that doesn't work because like that lack of trust is gone. Like the person doesn't trust that you are going to make a change. So at that point, you just have to take actions, and the accountability has to show in your lifestyle change. Because maybe a sorry in the moment, or I'm going to do something different. It's like, yeah, nobody is going to believe that anymore. So there's that. All right, so is there anything else I wanted to share in this regards? Okay, yeah, share everything. So solutions. The solution would be changing your mindset. Changing your mindset. And realizing that it's not the end of the world because you had to take accountability for something. Well, as I was saying before earlier, well, for some it does feel like the end of the world because the ego is just that big. So it does feel like it's like, oh my goodness, if I take accountability for this is going to mean this, or you know. So for some it is that ego there, which is like they just don't want to drop it. And also, another solution is developing a sincere and genuine love for the masculine principle as well as the feminine principle as well. So that way you are respecting the masculine energy when you're in the face of it, and you're also respecting yourself enough, the feminine principle, to be able to stay in alignment or within your own role. So that you just be feminine. So I think developing a sincere and genuine love for both of those principles will be helpful. And so, yeah, those are the solutions of being able to take accountability if that's something that you struggle with. So hopefully this video was helpful. I can say that I've learned a lot as it relates to being able to take accountability. And I can say on my journey there was definitely levels. Sometimes I go back to old messages that I wrote and me just talking crazy, just like trying to explain away things and just making excuses, and just it was really, really bad. And that's me judging my own self, because like for me I would react immediately when someone would say something to me and try to correct me. I would immediately respond and be like, well, no, like this. And I did that for many years before I learned to stop doing it, for one, because I read some Charles out book and it's like, okay, you need to stop. And yeah, so learning information, learning knowledge, that's what helped me stop behaving that way. And then also changing my mindset, like I said, realizing that it's not the end of the world because someone gave you a correction, and also developing appreciation for what's being shared. Like developing appreciation that the person is sharing that with you because you respect them. So it's like if they're saying something to correct you, it's like, okay, you respect that person, so it's not difficult to receive, because it's like, okay, this person is they love me, they're a respectable person, and it's like, why would you feel the need to go back and forth? Now, sometimes a person may be telling you truth, you may not respect them. Well, in that case, I wouldn't advise or say that you shouldn't listen to them. No, if someone is giving you truth, you listen. It doesn't matter whether you respect the person or not. But if it's your man, if it's your head, like, yeah, that's the man you chose, so you should respect the man that you chose. So yeah, in your role to listen and follow those instructions and take that criticism and take accountability for what's being told to you. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to keep rambling, but I just feel like there's so much to say with this topic, and I'm trying to squeeze it all in. I don't want to miss anything, but if anything else comes to mind, I'll just create another live, a part 2 on accountability. All right, so that's it for this video. Shalom.